to Film in Minnesota. I'm your host, Alan Tracy.
And I'm Rahana Power. Today we have Kari Layland on the podcast with us. Hi, Kari.
Hello. Great
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
joining. We're excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
We've got lots of questions for you. You do many things. So I'm excited to learn about kind of all of them. But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like just something fun, interesting, unique about yourself?
Let's see. Well, I could tell you my whole life story, but I guess I'll just I'll go with I'll go with a little something that I've been trying to do lately. I've been working with my dog to teach her a bunch of new tricks, and I recently taught her how to bow. And so
Really?
really every morning she does this little stretch where she sticks her butt up in the air and she like kind of so she puts her paws on the ground and then she sticks her butt up in the air. So every time she does that, I just say bow, bow, and then she starts to remember it. And so then when I take a little treat out and I tell her to bow, she will do it, and it's fun. It's super cool. And she's like, yeah. Yeah, she's like 8 years old, but who says old dogs can't learn new tricks? So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Downward
Absolutely.
dog, right?
Absolutely. Yep. She does the downward dog and she can
Oh.
dance and roll over and do all sorts of fun stuff. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to, not just starting to, I am also in the progress of training my dog and trying to mix it with, we need to work on these things. And this is really fun. We haven't done bow, although he does do that, sticks his butt up in the air with a stretch. But we just learned crawl, where they he goes
Cool.
down and then you just kind of like drag the treat in front of him and he just like army crawls. It's very cute.
That's
If
awesome.
she's able to do that.
Yes.
That's so fun. What kind of dog do you have?
Yeah. I have two dogs, but the one that's learning her bow is a Beagle Terrier mix. They're both rescues. We've rescued like 80 dogs. We used to foster a lot, and our two dogs are our two foster fails. So, yeah, they've been with us for a while. But yeah,
I
real
love
happy to have
that.
them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's like my dream, is to be able to
Yeah.
like foster all of the dogs. Honestly, adopt all the dogs, but foster all the dogs. So
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, yeah, there's some of them you're ready for them to leave, and other ones you're like, oh, I just want you to stay forever. And yeah, there's some that you just don't ever forget. They just speak to you somehow. I don't know. But yeah, it's a very cool experience.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. I could legitimately talk about that the whole time, but we have things to talk about. So, film in general, how did you get started? Like, what was it that was like, hey, you know what? I think I want to try this weird, crazy thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was kind of a dream of mine as a little girl, but as I grew up, living in Minnesota, I didn't think it was something that was accessible unless you moved to Hollywood and fight the crowd and compete that way. And I just, that just seemed like something that was just completely out of reach. So I went into photography and I started my own business, and I've been doing that for decades. But we actually started, I guess our first film was our Zombie Baby series, which was something that we just did as a family for fun. I went out with my daughter, my oldest daughter, and came back to my husband and our two toddlers had made a zombie movie together. It was like, you know, simple amateur quality, but it was hilarious, and it became like this family keepsake that we just kept pulling out and watching over and over again. And so I would say like about 4 years later, we decided to make Zombie Baby 2, and I took out all my camera gear and lit it and did all this stuff. And I was like, I'm going to make this good. And, that was still kind of a silly little thing. But really, what really got us into taking it more seriously was my youngest daughter has been in acting for a while. She did a lot of commercials when she was little. And then when she was about 9 or 10, she started getting a couple of film auditions and we had no idea that film existed in Minnesota. So we were like, well, okay, this is kind of cool. She didn't end up getting those, but there was one that happened to be that it said it was for Z-Fest. So I was like, well, what is Z-Fest? So I looked it up and found where the event was. And so I ended up taking her just to see what that film turned out like. Like, hey, what, this thing that you tried out for, let's go see how it turned out and, who they picked and how they did and all of that. And we went there, we watched 2 screening shows, and we were just like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing. We have to do this. And so I went home and I started writing a script. And it was so that summer, I ended up getting our first script from a screenwriter, because I decided that I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to do my first one with somebody who has done this before. So I got a script from a guy, Jason K. Allen. He wrote this little Christmas holiday thing, and I just wanted something that would feature a young girl as the lead, because I wanted to give her a chance to act in a film. That was really my only motivation, was just like, hey, let's give her something to act in, because that sounds fun. So I posted on Facebook and I got a bunch of volunteers to come out and just help us make this little movie. And it was so much fun, and we made a lot of friends, and we put it together, and we rented a theater and had a bunch of people come and watch it. We had our local Santa played Santa Claus, and so it's called Susie Meet Santa. That was our first real film, I guess, that was made for audiences and not just for us as a family. And yeah, it got a great turnout. We heard people laughing, and it was just the most rewarding thing. Just like something that, oh, I made this and people are responding and they're enjoying it. And so from there, I was just hooked. So from there, I looked more into Z-Fest, and I wanted to make something for that year. So I worked on, wrote Sleepover, which did pretty well. That was our first Z-Fest film, and that did well. And then people started reaching out to me, asking me to help on theirs, and it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. This last year, I was a part of 13 Z-Fest films in one way or another.
Wow.
And yeah, it's crazy. And I've got ideas for feature films, and I started filming our first feature film last summer. So we have our little our intro scene. It's the first 18 minutes of it are shot and edited, and then we're just waiting for years to pass for our actors to grow up for us to continue the story.
Oh.
So yeah, but yeah, I guess that's kind of a long answer, but yeah, that's kind of how it all came to be. So
that's so fun. I love that you did that, and it's like a way that you and your daughter connect and can help, what you do and what your passion is helps her with hers too, and just kind of supports and keeps it positive. That's phenomenal.
I just I love that we can do it as a family, and I can showcase her talents and also showcase mine, and we just kind of work together. And I also like that, before we got into this, I started looking at auditions for kids her age, and I just didn't see much of anything that wasn't like a flashback scene of playing the younger version of somebody, or somebody's kid as like a quick little walk on 1 or 2 line kind of thing. And so I really like creating stories for kids that age, because not even just her, but everybody who's been a part of it is just it's giving them an opportunity to get out there and shine. And it feels really cool to be able to give that to those kids. So
yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned you're making a feature. Is there I don't know how much you necessarily can or want to talk about it, but is there maybe a feature film that you really want to make, or you're like, you know what, someday I want to do a story like this, or a genre like this, and that's the feature dream?
Yeah. So I guess I'll tell you about 2. So the one that we just started filming, that's kind of it's a rom-com kind of drama kind of thing, where the main characters meet as kids, and they kind of have a crush on each other, but then one of them has to leave town, and so then they don't see each other for a really long period of time. And so then the next chapter will be them growing up and how they run into each other again, and it takes off from there.
Okay.
So that's the one that we've shot part of because I wanted to capture that as while they were young.
Yeah.
So we got that out of the way, but now I'm just waiting. Yeah, but I do have another that I'm just putting an outline together at this point, but
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do a thriller, it's like I don't want to say too much, but it's like
Yeah.
a kidnapping story where one girl basically tries to rescue the other from this evil kidnapper guy. And
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot more to it, but that's kind of, I love suspense and thrillers and things like that. And
Yeah.
and I think that it's something that I could do with the resources that we have, whereas,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people jump in and they're like, yeah, let's make a magical world and like all these crazy costumes and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's kind of scary, but I can do something that's like set in this world or in, 20 years ago or something like that. And
Yeah.
we can use what's available to us. And
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah, so that's something that's on the radar for the next, couple of years. So yeah.
That's really cool. I feel like those are both genres that you don't necessarily see a lot of here feature
Hmm.
wise. Like there's a lot of horror, which
Yes.
is definitely different than thriller.
Hmm.
Um, and rom-com, I feel like it's usually either more rom or more com, not necessarily a rom-com itself. So I
Yeah.
think it's really cool that those are the two that you're like focused on and working on. Um, it's not something that's necessarily so prevalent here. And so there's a lot of, I would assume there's probably a lot of, or there will be attention drawn to those, which
Oh,
is going to
fingers
be
crossed.
exciting. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah,
absolutely.
Sounds like
yeah.
you're making Boyhood also. Have you seen that?
Uh, no, I haven't. That I gotta
Oh,
put that on my
yeah.
list. It sounds like.
Ethan Hawke. Yeah, they
Okay.
filmed it like 10-year successions, I think.
Oh,
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
yeah, I think somebody has. I think I've heard that once or twice. When I describe it, just having the actors grow up on
Mhm.
screen, kind of. Yeah, yeah. I still haven't seen it, but I think I've heard a couple people mention that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. It's a fascinating concept to do. Um, so
yeah.
it's really cool.
I just hope all the actors are still interested when they in 5 years.
Right.
So
They're still
yeah,
acting.
yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Like okay, I hope they didn't move away and they moved
Like,
on and
oh
they're
no.
doing some other things.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world if I had to recast somebody, but it would be extra cool if
Right.
we had the same people. So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Um, so you not only, so you direct, you write, um,
yeah.
and you act as well, right?
Yes,
Can
yeah.
you tell us
So
about that? Like what, it sounds like directing came first, but is that accurate or how did acting come into play?
well. I guess that depends on what you consider a start. I did theater in middle school, high school. I started with improv classes in middle school 'cause I was actually kind of a pretty quiet kid, and doing improv classes was a fun way to just express myself and just I don't know. We had this great group that nobody judged each other, and it was I don't know. Just as a middle schooler, that was kind of not sure. It was a really cool experience to just get out there and just like wing it and perform. And that was my first experience with that. And then I did a couple of plays. But then, I always wanted to be an actress in film, but like I said, Hollywood was just kind of intimidating, so I didn't go that route.
Hmm.
I did do some. I worked in Mexico for about 6 months when I was in my
Oh,
early
wow.
20s. I worked at a resort and we did night shows where we did audience participation, improv
Yeah.
shows, and then
Wow.
and then I also
That's so
sang on
cool.
stage on
Yeah.
musical nights and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been drawn toward performing, but until we started diving into the film world just over the last couple of years, I didn't think that was something that we could do here. So I actually, my first film as an actress was Bobby's Intermission, and that was with Justin Atkinson. He's a local director. It was all mostly shot at a drive-in. I played the mom of the main character. Um, but yeah, there was a casting call on Facebook, and I fit one of the character descriptions, so I was like, I'll just go try it out and see. And they picked me, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't suck. So so then I started taking acting classes, and it just kind of spiraled from there. I did a student film, and then I started I acted in a Z Fest film, a couple of Z Fest films that season, after Bobby's intermission, and then it's just kind of been one after the other from there. It's just, yeah. So
You know,
that's awesome.
because it's called Z Fest 15 doesn't mean you have to do 15 Z Fest films.
Yeah, so I've heard, but when you're excited, you just dive in. I know
Yeah, of course.
I keep getting people asking me to participate on their project in the coming year. I'm like, I probably should be a little more picky about what I take on, because I do have to have my regular job and family and the whole thing. And so yeah, I mean, I have to be a little more picky about where I spend my time, but I love doing it so much, and yeah, it's hard to say no.
But how great though
Yeah.
that you were able
Yeah.
to do that many, or be, a part
Yeah.
of that many.
It was definitely rewarding. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, I was on a set almost every weekend over the fall and through the winter, but I had a blast, and I got tickets to every show at Z Fest, just because there was something that I worked on in every block. So it was like, okay, I'm watching everything. And so I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was just the coolest feeling. But yeah, I don't know if I can maintain that level long term, but I'll definitely participate next year. Probably not 13, but yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I might take on 20. We don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
I'm doing half of them.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
I'm curious, and this question kind of goes towards both for directing and then for acting. Who in film really inspires you as you're going to make a movie? Again, whether directing or whether acting.
Yeah, so locally, I would, say just the people who are out there doing it. There's Vanessa McGowan, Horrocks Power. She's made a couple of feature films. I had a couple walk-on roles with her, and it was just really cool to see her in action. She's just really in charge, and she knows what she's doing, and so it's kind of inspiring watching her. Bill Cooper. I've taken his classes, so he's I just really like him as a person. He's a pro. He knows what he's doing. It's his classes are great, and I've always had a great time in those. But he also directs, and he ran the Twin Cities Film Fest, and he's just out there in charge and he's amazing. So yeah, those are locals. And then as far as Hollywood goes, I don't know that I have a one director that I follow or anything like that. I'm always paying attention. Just when I watch movies now, it's kind of annoying actually, because I'm looking at camera angles and stuff, and I'm like, wait, what did I miss something? Because I was too busy looking at how they did something.
Yeah.
I have to rewind.
I keep having to back up. I'm like, okay, pay attention to the story now.
I always do that.
Yeah. So I drive myself crazy with that, but I've taken some. Most of my inspiration comes from the older ones, from the 90s, and the old style rom-com drama stuff. And I don't know. I think a lot of the newer stuff is so heavy into the effects and CGI and all that stuff, and I just I really like the older ones, like Home Alone, and let's see, what else did we take inspiration from? Early 2000s, the Notebook, Die Hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Clueless.
Yeah, just the stuff I watched when I was a teenager. Just that stuff. Yeah. Just
90s,
just classic storytelling. Yeah.
I love that.
Ace Ventura, I don't know, The Mask.
Yeah. All that stuff.
All of it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when it comes to actors, do you have favorite actors that maybe you're like, well, if they're in anything, I'll give it a chance, or you just maybe really admire or are drawn to their performance style or their talent or something like that? or is it, and does that kind of fall into the 90s era as well, or is that more present?
I think maybe a mix. I'm trying to think of who just I would watch anything that they're in. As far as like the romantic side stuff, I like Rachel McAdams is just kind of a natural at that stuff. So I've kind of
Yeah.
paid attention to her. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't watch a movie because of the actor as much as just like if the story is something that grabs me, or I'll watch a trailer and be like, okay, I want to know what happens next. That's what gets me hooked on a film. Yeah, less so about the actor themselves. But yeah, I definitely, like Julia Roberts, she's great at everything she does. So, I've studied her a little bit. Just,
Yeah.
I've done a lot of scenes like where she just happened to be in some of the scripts that I've practiced for acting class and stuff. And so yeah, I've watched her work a bit and just kind of looked at the little details and things that she does when she's acting. So yeah, I would say she's a bit of an inspiration too. So
Okay.
yeah,
I like that. That's really cool that you've like even kind of studied her and her work and like that kind of stuff. That's really neat.
yeah. I wouldn't say I've done like a biography of her, but
Right.
I watch her on screen and I pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah. Yes. Which
Yeah.
honestly, a lot of people don't do, like the paying attention part. So
Yeah.
What about like locally? You went to so many Z Fest films to watch?
yeah, who's your favorite? Pick out the one person
Oh my
locally who you're like,
gosh.
they're better than everyone else.
I,
Alan, trying to stir up just drama.
oh my
No,
gosh.
just
Yeah,
Make
don't make me
trouble.
people
pick
that are,
favorites.
not favorites, but
I'm just kidding.
you noticed, because,
Oh gosh. Let
or
me
maybe you'd want to work with them. I
think.
don't know. It's just,
Gosh, I mean, there's so many
you
people
don't
that
have
I
to
would
answer that.
love to work with. Well, I mean, just thinking, one name comes to mind, Lee Fillingsness. He's a
Yeah.
actor, but he's also a stunt performer and a fighter, and I don't know, he's just kind of got it all. I actually worked with him on Dragonity this year, and I was really impressed with his performance. He was able to choreograph all the fight scenes, and he did an accent, and I don't know, his performance was really impressive. So I was really surprised he didn't get nominated for for stuff, because he was pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
can't win them
We
all, you know.
we love Lee here, so
Yeah, he's
definitely.
pretty cool. I like him.
Yeah.
Worked on Kyber Run together, so it
Yep.
was
Ah,
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Shout out to Lee.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm curious. I want to go in both the directing and the acting directions at once, and I need to be more
Yeah.
decisive than that. Maybe so when you are go back to actually, you know what? This can go either way. So we'll go with that. When you're starting a film or you're going to be making a film, whether you're acting in it or it's yours, you're directing all of that, or you've written it, what's sort of one of the biggest challenges that you kind of run into or experience in that process?
Let's see. I think, well, some things I've just learned in producing is just you got to put in the time ahead of time, because prepare for all the what ifs. Yeah, I think that's kind of been a big challenge. That's a challenge in a way that I'm somebody who wants to do everything myself, and I know that it takes a team, and it's hard to let go of, like,
Yes.
it's like, okay, I can do this and that and that and that, but should I do all of the things? And it can be hard to let go of that, and like, okay, just like trust this person and let them do this. But there's a lot of really talented people, and it's just like let them take control over certain things. But sometimes it's hard to let go of some of those things when you just like you're so invested in something and you just want it to be a certain way, and you're just like, yeah. So pulling that back and just focusing on the one thing that I'm there to do. That's something I've learned I've got to do more of. And yeah, just being able to in pre-production build that team and have everything lined up so that I don't have to worry about everything else that's going on and I can focus on the creative side. If I don't do that, then I miss something. Or, in acting, if I'm also doing other crew things behind the scene, it's hard to pull myself into that character. I've had to do that a couple times where I was helping on camera and doing like PA work and stuff, and then all of a sudden I had to jump in and do an emotional scene. I'm like, okay, I need a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm supposed to cry, I gotta get there,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just trying to focus in on one thing. Yeah.
That makes sense. So kind of speaking of that, when it comes to like your process, because all actors have a bit of a different process to, get into the character, learn about them, be ready on set or whatnot, especially for moments like that. Do you, and some just kind of have like a natural, like, we'll figure it out, which I'm envious of. But do you have a pretty solid process, or does it kind of depend on the character and the project and all of that? And if you do have a pretty solid process, what's your favorite part about it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have like an organized process. I've done various different things to get to that. So it depends on what the script calls for. If it's a scene that I can connect to, then I just like, just become that character, and I just like, just make myself feel what they're feeling. If it's something that I'm maybe not as familiar with, then I have some things that, from my own personal experiences that just, make me feel emotional. And so, sometimes if I need to get there and I'm not, I'll pull up my phone, step into another room, and just like, pull up a, memorial to somebody that I lost or something like that, where it's just like, okay, it kind of brings that in, and then I can take it from there. It just kind of gets my body where it needs to be. And then it's like, okay, now I can use that as this character and what they're feeling. So yeah.
One of my first student films required one of the actors to cry, but he had to listen to a song. Like, it took him a second, a few minutes to get into it, and then he could do it. And it was just like, wow, that's interesting. I was just learning at that time too, so it was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just an experimental kind of thing. Just find what works. But there's a script that I've been working on that has a pretty emotional scene, and I don't have any problem with that because it's actually a role that I can connect to. So like every time I go through it, I can't get through it without getting emotional. Even just trying to memorize the words, it's like, okay, tears are pouring down my face. So,
that helps.
Yeah. Like, all right. It's a little inconvenient when I'm just trying to run lines. But,
right.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Some of them are easier to get to than others. So for sure.
Yeah, I made a film like that called January. It was just one of those films.
Yeah.
It's just,
and
in the editing room too. It's just kind of like, it gets you. So
yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to think that they're like, a lot of the time, not necessarily all the time, it requires like that kind of emotional like level, and I mean just crying in general, no matter how much, like usually takes some kind of process like that to really get in that mindset and get there, at least to start. But then when we watch it, it's just like immediate tears. Or just like it takes the actor a lot of work to get there, but then the audience is just like, oh my god. And it's
I mean,
it's amazing.
If they got you, they did their job.
Exactly. Yeah.
January was my last Z-Fest film I did, or one of the last, and it was in a moment, and someone in the audience was like, "God damn it, Alan!" It's just like,
like, yes, we got him. Made him cry.
Yeah. See, when I direct, I usually go for comedy. I think mainly because like I just love how it feels like when you're in the theater and you can hear people reacting to your film.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I
Yes.
can't always just like look around and see, oh, are people crying? You know, but like I
Yeah.
can hear
You just
laughter
hope to hear
around me, and
sniffles,
it's
and
like,
if you don't,
yes,
you're like,
it's all,
I don't know.
yeah.
All right. So on a similar note, what is your favorite thing about like the directing process?
Yeah, so I think really just being able to bring a story from start to finish, um, and in creating a shot list, and gosh, it's hard to explain. I think it's really just like taking something from its start. When I direct, I often write as well. So just having a story in my head and then turning it into something that I can see and hear people actually enjoying is just like it's just the coolest thing. So I think it's kind of a whole general thing, just bringing it from that idea up to sitting in a theater watching people just seeing and enjoying something that I did. I don't know, there's just something special about that. And really, I mean, I guess this is another thing, but just working with so many different people and meeting new people and just being able to give people an opportunity to show what they can do. Um, just the teamwork that's involved in it, I think, is really really rewarding to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm gonna hop back to acting just because that's
Yeah. Yeah.
my jam.
Awesome.
And uh, out of all the roles that you've played previously, does one kind of stand out as like your favorite? Whether it's because maybe it was the most challenging, or you just had the most fun, or maybe like the costumes were just crazy fun, or like just anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to pick just one, but really it's anything that allows me to just like be something totally different from myself. Um, like I just played a dragon human hybrid in Dragonity, and I got to do an accent and have like the whole medieval fantasy thing, and I got to fight with a sword, and it was just like something I had. Obviously, I'm not a dragon, so I mean, that was really cool to be a part of. But I also played a robot doll, like Stepford Wife type robot doll, which was pretty cool. In She's a Doll. But actually, most recently, what was really fun for me was a little less crazy, but and just a part of a recent student film that I did. I got to be a verbally abusive drunk mother, which is like, usually I'm like the friendly mom and, or like the nice person. So that was just like, I thought it was really cool to just like totally step out of the box and just be this drunk, mean lady,
Yeah.
And it was a really good time. I still haven't seen that film yet. I think they're still working on it, but yeah, I got to check in with her and see if there's a screening soon. But yeah, that was just loads of fun. I got to sit there and chug fake wine and just like verbally assault these teenagers. And yeah, I don't know. Just, yeah.
Youths.
Yeah. Good
Hana's
times. Yeah.
dream
Yeah.
role.
Just
Yes.
tell
Yeah.
them all what a disappointment they are. And, just, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. Total opposite of what I would tell my actual children. But,
Right.
it was a good time for sure. Yeah.
It sounds like you've had some really fun roles, like some
Yeah.
really like a
Lucky.
really good variety, like across the
Yeah.
spectrum versus sort of just like the same
Yeah.
mom, whatever
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole typecast thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah. So now, and whenever I get an opportunity to do something really different like that, it's pretty exciting. So yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is a question that I actually really enjoy,
Yeah.
because I feel like everyone has a different answer.
Okay.
And it's just based on experiences, which is always intriguing. But
Yeah.
if you could tell your younger self one thing, What would it be?
Mm.
Like young, passionate about
Yeah.
film, Kari.
Yeah. It's gonna make me emotional. Just, you can do it. Yeah. It's just really just, yeah, you can. Just like don't let anything hold you back. Says you're capable and strong and you got this. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I feel like that's what kids like at that point need to be told too. And I feel like we don't, which is it makes it even more amazing that you provide that for your daughter.
Mm.
Because it means so much and it holds so much value and can be the difference.
Oh,
All
doing my
right.
best.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like you're doing amazing. So,
Thank you.
um, so can you tell us what's next for you? It sounds like you have a lot going
Mm.
on. So,
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. So we've got just wrapping up all the Z-Fest season stuff. We got a award show coming up, so we got a bunch of stuff we were nominated for, and some a lot of our friends are nominated for stuff. So going and doing that and supporting them. We've got a handful of ideas, so I'll probably start doing. I took a little break from writing and stuff for a little while because it got a little too crazy. But yeah, I've got some ideas that I'll be throwing together. I know my daughter's got a couple ideas, so I'm going to help her with that. Yeah, she and a couple of friends are signed up for Bill Cooper's kids acting workshop this summer. So, yeah, it was I was the assistant last year in that class, and so I'll be doing that again, bringing the kids out and helping them. They're going to create a short film over the course of a week. Just yeah, with Bill Cooper as their coach, which is pretty awesome. So I'm sure that's going to be a good time. Yeah. So I'll be spending that week doing that. And then one huge thing that's coming up really soon is that my oldest daughter is having a baby in June. So yeah. So that is very exciting and something I'm very much looking forward to. Yeah.
Wow.
that's so
Yeah.
exciting. I'm going to be honest. I thought you were like
Yeah.
maybe 30. So
Thank you. I
yes,
appreciate
I
that.
had a bit of
Yeah.
a surprise when you said that. I
Yeah.
was like, wait a second,
Uh-huh.
like trying to do math, which I'm bad at.
Yeah. Well, when you start young and your kids start young, then you get to be a cool hip granny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so
I know
exciting
it
though.
is kind of weird, the idea of somebody calling me grandma, but whatever,
Yeah,
we'll roll with it.
that works exactly. You
Yeah,
get to be
pull
the most fun.
yeah, pull out my cane and work it.
Love
Get
it.
a cool cane. Like if I
Yeah,
ever got
Yeah,
a, if I was thinking about that, like if I
yeah.
ever needed cane, an Anubis head cane
Oh,
would be really cool. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
like one of them like medieval Gandalf kind of,
Yeah.
put
yes,
some little carvings in it and
staff.
stuff. Heck yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I
I
love
could
it.
fight with
Like,
it.
like
Yeah,
Right.
Stargate.
sweet. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
all
I,
about it.
I love this stuff, so I'm gonna tangent. But does she know what she's having, or is that like
Yes.
we're gonna surprise in the moment?
Yep, little girl. They already named her. It's
Oh,
Liliana. Yeah.
oh, I love
So
that.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, congratulations to you and
Thank
her.
you.
Um,
Yeah.
that's the most exciting part of all. So
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That'll be a good chunk of our summer for sure. Is spending lots of time with her. So
Absolutely.
yeah, very
Doing all the
exciting.
funness.
Oh yes.
Um, okay, so you have so much work, like
Mm.
from the actor perspective, from the director and writer, like everything. Where can people find your work that's out there?
Oh
Where
yeah.
can they follow you? How can they support you? Where can they maybe contact you if they?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm active on Facebook. So I've got, my personal Facebook is my most active, but I also have Tough Love Productions as our production company, and we've got a page for that. So if you just search up Tough Love Productions on Facebook, we should pop right up. I've also Kari underscore Layland on Instagram. We also have a website, but that's very poorly maintained. So maybe wait to look that up. But also, so Facebook Messenger or by email, toughloveproductions1 at gmail.com is where people could reach reach me. So
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. And then the final question, this one's my favorite. What do you want people to remember most about you?
Let's see. I guess in general, I just want to be seen as somebody who first and foremost loves and support her family, but also just I want people to enjoy my work and think of me as someone they'd like to have on their team. I love collaborating and making friends who love to create like I do. So yeah.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. All right. Well, Kari, thank you so much for hopping on with us and for joining us, for letting me just bombard you with questions. This was fascinating. Really glad you were able to come on.
Oh, I'm glad we can make it work. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to our listeners and watchers, until next time, this has been Film in Minnesota.